Hello everyone, you're welcome to the Irish Mammy channel. It's a cold winter's day here, but it's nice and sunny, so I thought what I was going to do today would be bring you around on a winter tour of the garden. It'll be short and sweet because there doesn't be a lot to see in the winter time, but nonetheless I would like to document it just to see the contrast in the summertime when everything starts to grow again. So here it is in all its glory, the bare bones. So you can see the bulbs starting to come up here. I have daffodils and tulips planted throughout this whole bed, and thankfully some of them actually are starting to look like they're naturalising, because you can see several sprouting up there where I would have only planted a few. So hopefully with a bit of luck they're starting to naturalise. A bit of structure here from this. I don't know if you can actually see that very well, but that is my maple tree here. Very small at the minute, but it will grow up to be a nice big splendid tree with beautiful autumn colour as well, and will provide lots of shade in this area after a good few years. So I'll have to change the whole plant scheme in a few years, so that could happen sooner rather than later. My poppy here survived really well. Of course it's perennial in this area, as well as my little heuchera here. I'm not sure if it's a heuchera or a heucherella, one or the other. And my rose bush here in the corner, looking a bit sad looking. Hollyhocks growing along the back there. You can see those. I didn't expect their foliage to survive so well through the winter. This is one of my hydrangea. I'll have to check and see which this one is. So I do keep my plant tags buried in the ground. I really have to find a different way to document it, because this is starting to break. So this is a paniculata hydrangea called Vanille Fraise, and you can see those little pink tones. It does go age to a nice pink tone in late summer. This is my rosemary, and this sat in a pot for years at my old house, and even here for a couple of years when I moved here. I think I only planted it in last summer in here in this bed, and it's really thriving now. And I'm probably going to take some cuttings off it in the early spring when the new growth starts, because I like to propagate plants, even to just give them away. And you can see one of the first flowers of the year just starting to come up here. I absolutely love hellebores. They're the first flower to appear after Christmas. Sometimes you'll get them before Christmas, but rarely now in this area. I don't know the names of these ones now, only that it is a hellebore. It's a nice winey coloured flower when it comes out. I had a white one here as well, but I'm not sure if it's coming back yet. And of course this is the remains of my Verbena bonariensis. I know it doesn't really look great in the garden at this time of year, and it has another one up here as well, but of course everything's ready now for cutting back, but I do wait just another few weeks till the spring's kind of getting underway before I start trimming everything back. Lots of clear up to be done, plenty of weeds in there as well. This bed in particular gets overtaken with buttercup. Creeping buttercup is a big scourge in here, as well as I also have lots of thistles and nettles in here as well. I did originally sow wildflower seed in this bed before ever I put any plants in it, because it was very, very poor soil, but they never took. or I wasn't patient enough to wait for them to take. So I decided to cover it with mushroom compost, plant my plants in it, and then bark mulch it. But I think last summer I let the weeds get a bit too bad, so they're probably all going to self-sow. They're probably all self-sown now here, and I'll have a bit of a scourge to deal with this spring and summer. But like a lot of things, it takes keeping on top of. So hopefully this year I will do better. That's the plan every spring. We'll see how it actually turns out. Another evergreen plant in here is my bay leaf tree, or bay tree. I use this for cooking quite a bit. And again, it went in at the same time as the rosemary. It sat in a pot for a good few years until I eventually planted it out there last summer. And I do harvest off it, and I'll probably do a decent harvest off it very soon, because it needs a bit of shaping really. You can see it's growing more to one side. So I will harvest off it and dehydrate the leaves and use them for cooking. They'll be handy to have stored in the kitchen. Another small hydrangea here as well. And again, these flower heads provide lots of winter interest. I mean, it's barren looking, but the flower heads are a bit of a help. And they provide habitat for wildlife as well, so that's another reason to not get rid of them. And I can't remember the name of this one. I thought I had the tag on it too. Give me a second till I see if I can root for it. So I can't find a tag for it there, but I think it might be Little Lime. If the other one is the Vanille Fraise, I think this must be the Little Lime one. And here I have Pittosporum, and this is a ball shaped type that doesn't really get very big, so that's the size, roughly the size it'll stay. Nice little round shape in the garden, and again evergreen. Now I'm looking here, I see the dog has been chewing at lots of my trees. Hopefully they will survive. This is well chewed back. You can see there's a whole stem broken off it. This is a Buddleia, one of the smaller varieties of Buddleia. Oh, there's the name of that, Pittosporum Gold Star. So the one thing about Buddleias though is that they do enjoy a good trimming back, and this will just save me from pruning it, having it pruned already by the dog. So it's gone to a pitiful state. There's only the one stalk of it left now, but it will grow up, and it is a miniature one, so that's a good job. Here I have my California lilac, which, if you remember from my summer tour, it had got far too big for this space, so I said I would chance cutting it back. Not sure if it would survive. Still frankly not sure, and won't know until probably midsummer if it's surviving or not. But if it's not, I'm not actually worried. I'll just dig it out. Hence why I was happy to chop it back and see what it does. So you can see along here I have the front of the garden planted with pony's tails grass. I don't feel it's doing very well here, actually, to be honest. But I suppose it'll throw up new shoots now in the spring as well and take off again. It is lovely in the summer, but it's got very sparse now this winter, which it isn't usually. And I see some of the clumps have actually died back altogether. There's one small one over there. You can barely even see it. So I have been rethinking this whole area. Not sure if I'm ready to do it this summer yet or not. I have loads of bulbs, tulips and daffodils to come up in this area, so I'm going to definitely let them come up first anyway. Because they're a lovely pop of colour in this early spring. I have Leucanthemum there, a type of daisy. Another poppy here. That's the other verbena. There's more of the pony's tails grass, Stipa tenuissima pony's tails. And my family apple tree. I'll have to go out from a different direction. My family apple tree here It was a gift for me for a birthday. I have been out and done my pruning. I just done a light prune. I could probably go at it again, really. It's the type of plant, well, for winter pruning fruit trees, I do take a while about doing it anyway, because I don't like to be too drastic when I'm cutting it back. So I'll take a little bit and I'll go off and come back at it a week later maybe and look at it again and see if there's anything else I'd like to take off, because I can get pretty brutal now when I start. So for that reason I do it in several goes, because it makes me think about it a bit more and not just chop the whole lot off. My limelight hydrangea is here. The bones of it, all the heads have fallen off this one, and I see the dog chewing at this as well. Well, I'm blaming the dog. Again, it doesn't look like much at the minute, but it's a real showpiece in the summertime. And here I have rose campion as well. It doesn't die off either. A perennial plant, and the foliage stays, and that's despite quite cold temperatures. I mean, we got down to -6 or 7 this winter and still have some winter to go. Up at the back here I have yellow elderberry. Oh gosh, it's a yellow-leaved elderberry. Can't remember the exact name of it. I keep wanting to call it lemony lace elderberry, but I don't think it is. But you can see there, that has actually leafed out. I'm only noticing that now. I mean, it's full of buds, but I wasn't expecting leaves to be actually out at this time of year. I mean, we think it's cold, but I suppose it's probably not in terms of winter. So now we're at the other side of the flower garden. Not really a whole pile to show here. And really nothing contrasts much against the bark mulch that I have on the ground, which is the next job I have to do. After I go round and weed, I will top up with bark mulch. But one thing that is standing out is this Senecio, Angel's Wing. It has taken a battering in the frost, that's for sure. And it is supposed to be perennial, so that root seems to still be fine in there, but there's lots of the plant there that's pulled off and feels soft as well. So I'm not doing anything with it at the minute. I'm going to wait and see, does it survive, and hopefully it does, because it's a beautiful, beautiful plant and really contrasting against the rest of the plants with the lovely bright silvery white foliage. No flowers. It may send up flowers sometimes in the summertime, but I haven't seen it flower yet, and I don't think it's normal for it to flower. This is my cherry tree here. No pruning done on it yet. You may or may not know, any fruit trees, fruit that contains stones such as plums and cherries and peaches, don't get pruned until probably mid to late spring, because there's a chance of I think it's silverleaf disease that they get. So only my apples and pears have been pruned yet. So I have another Chrysanthemum there, Daisy. This is the remains of Nepeta, from what I can remember, and that's part of the problem. I can't remember half of the plants that I had, and the names of them then even is another story. Another plant here, again I can't remember the proper name of it, a lamb's ear I think is what that's called, and the remains of my Rebecca there. I love the seed heads on it. It's really nice when the sun's shining through it in the winter time. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is my apple tree here, another apple tree. Again, and these are all only small trees. Like, I have some pruning done on this. I'm undecided yet as to whether I should prune that leader or not yet. Again, that's a big decision. I'm not going to make it too quickly. Well, we see what the variety of this apple is. Yeah, that's a Braeburn, so that'll be a cooking apple. Well, no, a dual purpose apple actually, Braeburn. So Here we have my black lace elderberry. This is a magnificent tree in the spring and summer. I absolutely love it. I have to propagate it, take some cuttings from it. I'll probably have to wait another few weeks to do that. I prefer to take softwood cuttings. I feel they take the best. I did take some hardwood cuttings late summer, and I have yet to check them. I'm not sure if they've taken or not yet, but they may and may not have, so I'm going to take some more anyway, just to be on the safe side. Behind it there is a hebe. Considering trimming that back as well. It's getting a little bit big in comparison to all the rest of the plants in this bed, but we'll see. And then this is a climbing hydrangea, petiolaris I think it's called. Now I'm not sure of the exact variety, but this has had buds on it since October. I don't remember it doing that last year, and I kept thinking it was going to leaf out, and actually if you look up close at that bud is starting to open. So looks like that's going to be leafing out very soon. It's hard to believe it's getting that close to spring already. Another hellebore here, absolutely beautiful hellebores in this bed. These ones have been well established because these actually grew in my last garden, and I dug them up, potted them until I got my bed sorted here, and then planted them. Now last summer I cut these back to absolutely nothing, which I don't usually do, but it needed a new vigour because it had a lot of old tattered looking leaves on it, and sometimes I just take the outer leaves off it. But last summer I decided it was getting too ratty looking, and I just cut it back to the ground, and it really has done it the world of good. There's actually two of them. There's another one there behind, if you can see it there. But yeah, it's magnificent. See those petals? When they're not true petals, actually they're sepals is what the word is, but it is a fabulous plant, and great to see colour in the garden this time of year. Now this hydrangea I remember the name of. This is Pinky Winky, and even though it's ready for pruning, I still think it looks fabulous in the garden at this time of year. You can see the signs of more bulbs coming up there in the ground, and more in there at the back as well. My blue spruce tree, so this is my Christmas tree that I keep talking about. Still haven't put lights on it. Could have put lights on it this year. Honestly just didn't get around to it this year, but someday it'll be fabulous, and possibly growing out over this, but I'm hoping it doesn't. It was supposed to be 1 metre spread. We'll see if that actually happens. Different type of hellebore here. Oops. A lighter pink variety, and again there's two of them there, another one in behind. The same thing, I cut them back to nothing. Actually, if you look here, this is what they actually look like. So this is the third one that hasn't been cut back. So this is what it looks like at this time of year if you don't trim it back. Sorry, didn't trim it back now. So you can see all these leaves, they really look terrible. I'm not going to cut them back now just because it's in its growth stage. I'm going to leave it, but definitely when it's done blooming, late spring, maybe early summer, I'm going to be cutting that back. Tree here is a flowering almond tree. The very first tree to go into this bed here, into this garden that I put in, and it's getting quite tall now. And I have cut these sprouts back before. I felt that these were water sprouts the first year they shot up, but last year I decided to leave it and see what it done. I might trim it along the top a wee bit, and I might just leave it. And last year it had flowers down around the bottom and no flowers up at the top, so that made me think that possibly it did need to be pruned. Of course everything's going to get a good feeding now very soon too, so I keep talking about all I'm going to do and I will get to it at some stage in the next couple of weeks. So I've said already I'm going to go around and weed, just to get a lot of those perennial weeds. You know, there's a few thistles and dandelions and things that's just getting a little bit out of hand, so I want to get on top of those, get them out when the ground is still nice and soft, because you know this is very hard clay soil, but with all the rain and everything over the winter it has softened a little bit, so it makes it easier just to get some of those tap-rooted weeds out. Then I'm going to cover it all with another good thick layer of mulch, and I'll probably feed everything actually before I put down the mulch. I'll probably put down some fertilizer, just a natural all-purpose pelleted feed, to go around all my trees and shrubs. You can see my bird feeder there is actually empty. That would want to be filled up very soon. So then in here I have a geum, yellow flowering geum, and another daisy. And this is actually what made me think of doing the garden tour, because I could see this starting to bloom. So this is Euphorbia, Euphorbia amygdaloides, maybe. So you can see the lovely bright green blooms on that chartreusey colour, and when this comes out in full force it's just going to be gorgeous. It's a pity it's the only thing flowering really at the minute apart from the hellebores, so it's kind of lost and doesn't get the attention it deserves, I feel. My poor Japanese maple tree, it's looking very sad looking again, another victim of the dog, but the same thing happened last year and it will grow up. It'll grow back. It'll just, well, I suppose it keeps it size controlled if nothing else, but I do plan on sorting that out this summer so that the dog can't actually get at my trees. This, I'm trying to think of the name of this. Oh gosh, it's gone from me. It's such a common plant and I can't think of it. Oh, it's like a hollyhock. I'll probably put the name on the screen because I know I'll think of it as soon as I turn off the camera. Lovely bright pink blooms on it. Lavaterra, that's the name of it. Lavaterra. Probably not how you pronounce it, but that's it. So this is lovely, and this is quite common to find in cottage garden style gardens. Now I wouldn't call my garden style cottage garden, but nonetheless I liked the size, shape and colour of it, hence why it's here. Probably could do it a trim back as well, so that'll be happening sometime in the next few weeks. Again, lots of more dead looking twigs that you barely can see against the bark mulch. Trying to remember what I have here. So this here was a salvia. I have a rose bush over there, the poet's wife, and this is swirling butterflies. Can't think of the name of the plant. Probably should have done my homework before I started doing a garden tour. And this one thankfully has a tag on it, so that might be helpful. Spirea. Yeah, okay. And then this is my pear tree. Again, a little bit of pruning done on this just to size control it. This will be its third year growing now. Very important to keep fruit trees pruned up to the first 5 years at least, but ongoing really, just to keep size control and maximum fruit production as well, because I do ultimately want to get plenty of fruit out of my fruit trees. So I have 2 plum trees, 2 pear trees, 2 cherry trees and 2 apple trees, all here in this front garden. None of them are going to be very big. The rootstock, I can't remember now, M11 rootstock, I think. I'll have to double check on that. But basically should only get about 3 to 4 meters tall maximum, and probably won't even get to that if I keep it pruned right and in good shape, which is the plan. So down here is the this is my other plum tree, Victoria plum, I think. No, Marjorie seedling, this one is. Just looking at the tag there. Again, looks like a dead twig at the minute, but in the summertime it will be leafed out and looking beautiful. Rose bush in there. I don't know the name of that one, definitely don't know the name of that one, but I have done a light prune on that, and I'll probably do another prune as it starts to leaf out. Another Pittosporum, which will grow up quite big in this area, which I wanted to try and fill the area up a little bit, because I want to hide the view towards the back just a little bit, just to give you something to look around and add a bit of interest. This plant, names are gone from me again, putting up on the screen because I know I'll remember it. Quite spiky plant too, but again it's evergreen and it has survived the winter, so it's doing well. My other limelight hydrangea, I think I have 3 limelight hydrangeas in the whole garden. And a hebe down here at the end. Hebes are great for year-round colour with foliage and flowers, but you know, they're not terribly striking, but at least they have full year-round colour in terms of either foliage or flowers. And then just to swing over this side of the path, this is the other cherry tree, hasn't been pruned yet. The remains of my agapanthus lie in there, and lots of campanula and small little ground cover plants in the area as well, and that's the other hydrangea just there. So as you can see, quite a sparse looking garden at the minute, and that was why I wanted to just document it, because I know this garden gets full of colour in the summertime, and I just wanted to document the contrast between the winter garden and the summer garden, because we can get a little bit frustrated in the winter time. Everything looks so dead, and look, there is ways you can work on winter interest and winter colour, and I do intend to keep working away on that. I have some evergreens that I just got before Christmas. They still have to go into the ground. I just feel it's a little bit too cold. I don't want to shock them into the winter weather yet, and you'll see that sometime in the spring too when I plant those out. So they are, I'm going to be planting a group of blue arrow junipers, and I'm only going to be planting them as little baby plants, so it's going to take patience to see them come to fruition, but it'll be worth it in the end. And again, they will give me juniper berries. So a lot of the plants I have in my garden are edible. I kind of call it an edimental garden style, so it's a mix between edible and ornamental, and most of the ornamentals that I have, I would like to think, are attractive to bees and butterflies and other wildlife. That's the whole idea of my garden. Now I will stick an odd plant in that I just like for this, that I just like the look of it. It might not have any other use in the garden. Also medicinal herbal plants as well, like I have Achillea and Echinacea for that reason. You know, they have other uses as well. But in general, gardens look tired, dead looking, and just not very interesting in the winter time. And we see a big contrast then in the summertime. So hopefully this was helpful to some of you who do get a little bit disappointed with your gardens over the winter, all the work you put in over the summer, and you know, we all work hard to make the gardens look good in the summertime, and to see how dilapidated it looks in the winter can be very disheartening. But there are ways to work on it. Like I said, it will be a labour of love over many years to get the garden looking really well in the winter as well as the summer. But that's the plan over a few years' time, to have it looking well both winter and summer. Weeds are the bane of my existence, and I'm sure every other gardener's as well. That's the biggest, the most time consuming job we have in the garden is weeding. But it can be therapeutic too. It doesn't have to be a drudge. While I would say most of the time it is, sometimes it can be nice to just get out in peace and quiet on your own and start pulling weeds and see the difference you can make, the before and afters. And I'd encourage you to do that. Take before and after pictures so that you realise how far you've come as well. And take pictures of your garden in the summer so that you remember what it looks like when it's in the depths of winter and maybe snow. And depending on where you live, you could have inches of snow. Actually, sometimes I think maybe it would be better covered in inches of snow, because it wouldn't show the garden up so much that because it'd be a nice blanket. It'd be nice looking out at a white blanket over the whole lot. But anyway, just a little bit of encouragement. Don't get disheartened by your garden over the winter. Spring is here, en route. Stuff is starting to leaf out, as you can see. I just got a good surprise there with my elderberry, seeing it leafing out. The euphorbia would be expected to start to bloom around this time of year. But yeah, and just seeing all the bulbs starting to come up out of the ground, that really is encouraging. So I encourage you to just hold on, don't get disheartened, and get yourself ready for your summer season garden. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoyed this video, just press the thumbs up at the bottom. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.